For thousands of years, the tribe survived the same way every single day. The hunters chased mammoths, the gatherers searched for berries, and everyone shared whatever food they managed to bring back before sunset. Some days there was a huge feast, while on others the entire tribe went to bed hungry because the hunt had failed. It was an unpredictable way to live, and everyone was beginning to grow tired of it. One evening, after another unsuccessful hunt, the tribe sat silently around a nearly empty campfire. There was only a handful of berries, a few mushrooms, and one tiny rabbit to feed dozens of hungry people. As stomachs growled louder than the wolves in the distance, one young hunter sighed and said, "Why do we spend all day searching for food? What if people came to us instead?" The entire tribe turned to look at him. For a moment, nobody understood what he meant. The hunter stood up, picked up a stick, and began drawing in the dirt. "Think about it," he said. "Every day, travelers, hunters from other tribes, and people crossing the valley pass right by our camp. Instead of everyone hunting for themselves, what if we cooked food and served it to them? They could trade us stones, animal skins, or fresh fruit in return." The tribe looked at one another in confusion. An old villager scratched his head and asked, "So, you're saying we hunt once, cook it, and then sell it?" The hunter smiled. "Exactly." The camp fell silent before suddenly erupting with excitement. It was the strangest idea anyone had ever heard, but it also sounded brilliant. Without realizing it, the tribe had just invented the world's very first restaurant. The very next morning, everyone rushed to prepare for the grand opening. The hunters promised to bring the freshest meat, the gatherers searched for the sweetest berries, and the tool makers carved flat stones into what they proudly called menus. Another group arranged large logs around the campfire to create the first dining area, while someone hung a giant mammoth skull above the entrance as the restaurant's sign. After hours of debate, they finally agreed on a name, the Hungry Mammoth. The chief smiled proudly and declared, "By tonight, hungry travelers from every corner of the valley will be eating here." Everyone cheered, convinced they were about to change history. None of them realized that opening the restaurant would be the easy part. Dealing with the customers would be a completely different adventure. By sunset, the Hungry Mammoth was finally ready to welcome its first customers. The campfire burned brightly in the center. Wooden logs were arranged as seats, and flat stone menus displayed the day's specials: roasted mammoth steak, grilled wild boar, fresh berries, honey nuts, and river fish. The entire tribe stood nervously, wondering if anyone would actually show up. Minutes later, a group of travelers from a neighboring tribe wandered into the valley. They looked at the strange setup, exchanged confused glances, and cautiously took their seats. The restaurant had its first customers. The excitement quickly turned into chaos. Since no one had ever run a restaurant before, nobody knew whose job was what. One hunter was taking orders while still carrying a bloody spear. Another accidentally served raw meat instead of cooked meat. And the chef became distracted while telling stories about his latest hunt, burning an entire mammoth leg over the fire. A customer politely asked, "How long will my food take?" The chef confidently replied, "Only 5 minutes." Nearly an hour later, the same customer was still staring at an empty stone plate. Even thousands of years ago, restaurant waiting times were somehow exactly the same. Just when the tribe thought things couldn't get worse, the complaints started arriving. One customer wanted his meat cooked less, another wanted extra berries without paying more, and one elderly traveler insisted the mammoth steak was better last season. The tribe stared at him in disbelief. "It's the same mammoth," whispered one hunter. Meanwhile, a child accidentally released a basket of chickens into the dining area, sending customers jumping onto logs while the cooks chased birds around the campfire. The restaurant had officially turned into complete chaos. As the last customer finally left, the exhausted tribe collapsed around the fire. They had survived their first day, earned a pile of animal skins and useful tools through trade, but also learned an important lesson. Catching a mammoth was far easier than keeping hungry customers happy. And as they counted their rewards late into the night, they had no idea that tomorrow would bring something even more difficult than difficult customers: a food critic from another tribe. The next morning, word about the hungry mammoth spread across the valley faster than anyone expected. Travelers, hunters, and even families from distant tribes arrived, eager to try the world's first restaurant. Long lines formed outside the entrance before sunrise, and for the first time, the tribe realized they had become more than just hunters. They had become business owners. The chief proudly welcomed every guest, while the cooks worked nonstop over the fire. It seemed like the restaurant was finally becoming a huge success. But success brought a whole new set of problems. By midday, the mammoth steaks had completely sold out, and the berry baskets were nearly empty. Customers began asking for dishes that weren't even on the menu. One wanted extra honey on his roasted meat, another asked if the fish could be cooked without bones, and one impatient traveler complained that the stone seats were too uncomfortable. A hunter whispered, "They're lucky we even invented chairs." Still, the tribe smiled politely, determined to keep every customer happy. Just as the lunch rush reached its peak, a group from a rival tribe arrived. Instead of ordering food, they stood outside laughing. Their leader pointed at the restaurant and shouted, "Who would pay for food when you can hunt it yourself?" The crowd fell silent. The chief stepped forward with a smile and offered them a free sample of the restaurant's famous roasted mammoth. The rival leader took one bite, paused for a moment, and quietly asked, "Do you have another piece?" Within minutes, his entire group was sitting inside, enjoying the meal they had mocked only moments earlier. By sunset, every table was full, the campfire was still burning, and the tribe had traded more goods in one day than they normally collected in an entire week. As everyone celebrated another successful day, a hunter looked toward the empty food storage and frowned. The restaurant was growing faster than anyone imagined, but there was one problem they hadn't planned for. If customers kept coming like this, there soon wouldn't be enough mammoths or berries left to serve. The tribe had built the world's first successful restaurant, and now it was on the verge of running out of food. The chief gathered the tribe and came up with a simple solution. Instead of hunting more, they created smaller portions, added new berry dishes, and encouraged nearby tribes to trade fresh ingredients. Soon, the hungry mammoth was thriving again. As the chief smiled at the crowded restaurant, he realized they hadn't just invented a place to eat. They had invented the first successful business.